What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the DX Gamer Show and my Simcity Let's Play for Tuesday, April 16th, 2013. This is essentially a part 2 to my Streetcars episode, where I continue to upgrade my public transportation system in order to try to get my casinos up and running to a higher level. I'm really kind of nearing the maximum growth potential of the city other than upgrading the casinos, so this is going to be the last episode that we have in Las Vegas before we move on to start a new city. And then I'll get to see once again if IndieDX is going to prove its usefulness to be able to produce another Great Works project outside of its current 4-block region. I'm really curious to see if that's going to work out, and that's something we'll probably see in the next episode. But here we are. I haven't built Streetcars along, and I'm kind of pumped about it, so I decided to go ahead and just follow these Streetcars around for a little bit and kind of do a little tour of the city. And then towards the back half of this episode, or towards the end, I'm going to zoom out, and then we're going to go ahead and look through all the graphs and see how the city's doing in certain areas and see where its failings and successes are. So because there's so much stuff going on in this particular city, my sound card is starting to do a little bit of fail here, where it's not able to process all the sounds that are going on around the city. All the casinos, all the music, the cars, the traffic, the streetcars, all that stuff is causing things to get skipped over, and that's something I kind of noticed. Also, when I go to the maximum speed level in this city, now that it's all like really, dense and there's so much stuff going on, my computer starts to slow down a little bit. So this city definitely is taking its toll on my computer system. But I had to do this. From time to time, I just gotta stop what I'm doing and follow things around and see what's going on. You guys know I like to do that. So let's go ahead and zoom back out and start checking to see what needs to be fixed and upgraded. I did notice some hiccups in the last episode where I did some silliness in my import-export facility where I did not place the lot for the alloy lot, and now I'm having a problem with the alloys being overfilled in the recycling center. See that? They are actually not being shipped off, and the other things are doing fine. I created a plastic and metals lot, but I didn't create an alloys lot. So I have to go back into my import-export facility. At this time, I actually hadn't figured out what was going on. I was like, well, why is that not working? At first, I thought I had not placed enough trucks in my import-export facility, so I tried to place some trucks. I think I did that in the previous episode, but in this one, I saw the lot is like, oh, fail. So I went ahead and placed the alloys lot, and then I went ahead and nuked the, what is it? An ore lot I actually placed is what I placed there. Went ahead and nuked that. Goodbye. Don't need you. And then just make sure I export the alloys. And there I go. I'm off and running. And this is just really helpful. And like now that I have a decent sized population of 102,000. And there we go. See? That was another fail. Just doing all kinds of fail in this episode with the streetcars and now with this. But that's what happens. I was kind of rushing towards the end here, just trying to get things out. But as you can see, as we're looking at the budget screen, you can see how helpful that recycling center. It makes you a good bit of money, especially for a city with a decent sized population like I have here. And oh, another one of the comments was asking if the prices diminish as you continue to schedule events. And to answer that question, I have not noticed that. It still costs $45,000, and I still make a good bit of 150 plus thousand for each event. I have not noticed any diminishing at all. As you would expect, I have a good bit of traffic coming inbound to the city, and you can see those lots being totally filled up, so I went ahead and put a few more lots down here, and even these fill up really quickly. I still believe that these help alleviate some of the traffic. A couple of bus terminals I got going on with the bigger buses and stuff, and buses coming from other cities and stuff. This really kind of helps out, I believe. It looks like it does alleviate the traffic a little bit, and as you'll notice as I place these things down, they just start to fill up really quickly. And then I realized that I had these things down, and I needed to create a way for the buses to be able to loop around, because otherwise they would just have to leave the city and then come back, and that is unacceptable. So I tried to create some kind of loop around system. I didn't really like the way this one was turning out. This kind of looked bad. Kind of looked at it for a minute. It's like, no, we're going to nuke that and do something a little better here. And I think I came up with a little better solution with a little more throughput to allow the traffic kind of to spread out a little bit from the entryway. And, you know, you got to kind of do that. Now, I kind of did something I don't like to do, though. I like to leave a rather large entrance into the city. That way it allows traffic to kind of, you know, pile in and, you know, do its thing. But since there's no zoning on these parts to make the traffic worse or whatever, it's really not going to cause a problem. So I went ahead and just put roads off to the sides here, and I think this, you know, kind of helped out a little bit with traffic. Although it's just something you have to manage in this city and just try to allow as much traffic throughput as possible. I'm not saying this is exactly the best method, but it seems to work pretty well. As you notice, this is a prime time entry point and exit point, and there's a lot of traffic coming in and out. And as you can see, when I place those roads to kind of allow the buses to loop around, you can see the buses are actually entering that area and doing what they need to be doing. So at this point, I'm pretty much going to wrap things up in this city, tie up the loose ends, make sure everything's functioning properly, take a look around, make sure the police station's operating, and then just in a little bit here, we'll take a look at those graphs. So my original concerns about having to mop up crime with possibly building a school or a high school is pretty much, it wasn't necessary. We pretty much was able to crush most of the crime with the police precinct here, and it did quite well at the job. I'm going to go ahead and turn on the final 6 cars because we're making a good bit of money. So clearly, I think the tourism and casinos are making us money. They're just not making enough money to get that next unlock so I can get the higher tier stuff in there. And I'm not going to dare build the higher casinos because it doesn't seem like the high wealth tourism is at a, you know, high in this city. Maybe later on when we've got a lot more people in the region, when we start working on some additional cities, we'll, you know, maybe revisit this city and see if that does anything to help alleviate the issue. And then of course we'll have some of the other great works projects such as the international airport going and all of that. Now because I had a really long wait time with my streetcars, and it may have been because I didn't place enough places for the stops for people to get in. I believe each stop allows like 200 sims or something like that. I didn't know, so I went ahead. I was still at a good surplus, and we had the recycling center making us money, so we're at a good position here. We're still sitting in that 4 million marker, so I went ahead and built a second streetcar facility to see if that may alleviate the 42-minute wait for the streetcars, because that shouldn't be. It's not even filled out through the entire city. It's just in the outskirts and the center to the casinos. So anyways, let's go ahead and see how these last 2 casinos are doing. Okay, so this one is actually at this point turning a profit. That's the first time I've seen that, the sci-fi, and this one's actually kind of close. It's better than it was. It was actually really, really bad. But we are sitting in a negative budget at the moment. So here we're just going to take a look at the graphs and just see what's what. So population density looks interesting. Commercials, you know, it's pretty stable. I've been looking at the population index and everything looked pretty good. Land value in the middle there is very high, and on the outskirts is pretty low, as expected with our services, garbage, and exports and stuff. We have virtually no industry in the city, so this graph is actually not going to tell us anything. Here is the germ map as I expected, and we're probably being affected by IndieDX, and we actually have a pretty decent size of thick air pollution going through the city, and that cannot all be due to the garbage facility because it's just sitting on the corner of the map there, so that's just silly. No ground pollution, no radiation, any of that stuff. And then here is our buses, and as you can see the graphs, you can see how many people are waiting at some of these stops, and this kind of really can kind of help you to see where you actually need to place bus stops or more bus stops, because some of them fill up and people get irritated, and that kind of, you know, messes with your score there. And then let's take a look at the streetcars. And you can see we have a big pileup of a couple people. You can see where we might be able to place a couple more streetcar stops, and that might help alleviate that 45-minute wait. But we just try to place more to see if that would help out a little bit. We don't have any boats. We don't have any of that there. And then, of course, we have the trade, and finally our tourism and all that stuff. And you can see this is a pretty good graph. Actually gives you a good idea of where all the people are in your city. So they're all spread out. A lot of the low wealth is spread out between all of them. High wealth actually in the low end casino, which does not make any sense to me because we have two totally kick-ass casinos in the center here, and we don't have a lot of high wealth citizens checking those out. So I'm not sure if this is going to be corrected in a patch or if I'm just doing this totally wrong, and we'll just maybe revisit this later when I have a better understanding of it. So let's take one last look of our beautiful city. The circle thing, the dartboard thing turned out pretty cool. I really like the way the city is looking. It's too bad we couldn't get some of those higher tier casinos to make it all filled out. But let's go down the street one last time here as we take our last look at lost wages, and we'll probably be starting in a new city for Wednesday. And again, I just want to reiterate a note that I do have a busy week this week, so I'm only going to have the one episode for today, Tuesday. Maybe if things calm down a little bit later in the week, I'll be able to get more done, but for now, it's just not possible. So for the next city, I'm planning on doing a Sleepy Town kind of thing. You guys can hit me in the comments if you want to see something else, and that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching the DX Gamer Show and my SimCity Let's Play. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.